Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or hello if this is your first time watching a video of mine. My name is Jennifer. First I want to start off, only 3 y'all commented on the giveaway video, which is cool. But this is who I want, the 3 people who won. I'm going to send you a piece of jewelry based on your traits and your zodiac traits that you sent me. We got Riding Around Brisbane, Maria, I don't know how to say your last name, A-G-U-I, and then Angie Turner. If each of you guys would message me on Facebook, which is the Wicker Witch Studio, and you can send me your address, and I will get those in the mail to you as soon as I get your address in. That's just like the easiest way for me to do it because it's just easier for me that way because I check that more often than the messages on my YouTube. So if you guys would just, you 3 would just, the 3 of you that commented, you know, just give me your address and through Facebook and or Instagram if you find me on there. I'm the Wicker Witch Studio as well. Just either one of those, give me your address, and I'll get that in the mail to you as quickly as possible. Now, today, I want to talk about introspection. This is something that I have been practicing and really getting deep down to know myself, the true self, beyond the layers, beyond the beliefs that I carried, beyond my opinions, beyond people's opinions of me, just beyond all of that, there is the core energy. There's the core what I am. And it's in all of us. We all have a core essence of who, the way I like to explain it as like, I seen it read, I follow a lot of like, evolve and ascend, like just like things that like, I follow a lot of pages on Facebook that gets you to think, just to open your perspective up. It just gives you a thought, like a little thought idea, just like a little, hey, what if it was like this? I love those types of conversations of, this isn't like a super big belief of mine. It's just like, what if? Because we don't really, none of us really know what the fuck is going on here. None of us really do. Like, we think we know, and we have like an intrinsic feeling that you know, like something's weird. Anyone I've ever talked to, who thinks this way, or even has a smidge of like curiosity, kind of has this little feeling inside of them of like, something is weird here. Like, how can we dream and it feel totally real? How can we dream and the thing that stands out and what makes you remember a dream is when there's like an emotion attached to it, like a nightmare or like a super weird, vivid dream that made you feel funny about somebody that you know, or, you know, it's just like anything like that. How can that be just as real as me sitting here in the moment? Like when I'm dreaming and I'm in those spaces, like how is that just as real as me picking this up? So just think of things like that, you know. I like to think of it like that. And another way I like to put it is like, we are all, you know, when you get into the quantum level of things, when you start investigating and researching quantum physics and just watching videos about it, you start getting a feel for just how weird this place really is. Like this time and this space. It's a strange place because it's like, you know, the energy, the essence of who we are can't be destroyed because it's an energy. We all emit a light at the tips of our fingers. There is a invisible to our eyes light that emits from our fingertips. It's our auras. It's our spirit bodies. It's whatever you want to call it. There's so many different names for it. And you know, that part of us, who we really are at the core, like just us, the essence of us. Because, you know, I'm not a body. Like, my body can't sit here and form these thoughts if there wasn't something else going on. I don't understand how that can happen. You know, because cats, dogs, pigs, cows, they all have brains and, you know, pretty much the same things we have, but they don't have the ability to form sentences and tell us what they're fucking thinking about, what's going on in their head, even if they even have that ability. I'm sure they do, but I don't know for sure. Nobody really knows for sure. And so, you know, you could have, your energy, your core energy could have started off as like, I don't know, a living being tree. And then, you know, since energy at its base level cannot be destroyed, it can only be transferred or transmitted into something else, transmuted. Maybe that's why some people are drawn places, and so that's why some people are drawn to certain things. I think along the way, you know, through family ties and down the generations, I think we pick up essences of little bits of who the ancestors, who the people are that came before us, who all the people it took to get together by chance to get to us, the people who are living now. It's just so, when you think about these like weird things about life, it's like, how is any of this possible? And why aren't more people like fucking weirded out by it? Like, not weirded out in a bad way, but like just amazed. Like, how can you not be, I don't know, just at a loss for words. I don't know. It's, you can feel so, this body, it can make you feel so separate and so disconnected from, your environment. But your environment is just as much of you as you are you. Like, you can't be you without the context of your life, you know? Like, because without the context of like your life, your job, your schooling, your blah, 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 your family, your address, your phone number. It's like you've got all these things associated with you that society, that somebody else's, it's somebody else's idea of what society is, and like what we're supposed to be doing here. And it's somebody else's imagination we're living in, which is weird. Because if you think about it, nothing would exist in the material world if somebody didn't imagine it. And where do those ideas come from? Because this is what gets me, this is what makes me think there's just more to it. There's just something else to it that we can't explain. And I don't think we're ever going to be able to explain, because the language is just too clumsy. It's just too, it will never be enough to fill that void of divinity, or whatever it is you call it. I call it the universe, energy, just what it is, because that's what it is. It's just energy transmuted and transformed and recycled and reused. And so who knows what my cells started out as? I know this all sounds like crazy talk, but it's not. Like, you need to, like, it's so good to, you don't need to do this. That was like a slip of the tongue, but like, you don't need to do these things, but it's really weird when you start to research and like, I don't know, just figure out what and who you are before everyone told you what and who you are, you know? Because when I was born, if nobody told me that I was white and a female and lived in America, do you think I would have known any of those things? Or do you think I would have just described myself as a body, you know, a feminine body? I don't know. I don't know what my language would have been, because I wasn't given a chance to form my own structure of view of belief and perspective, because I was kind of just like thrust, as we all were. We're kind of just thrust into this somebody else's, a bunch of other people's idea of what we should be doing, which is, again, strange. You know, and I didn't start thinking like this until I didn't start diving deep into these thoughts, is what I should say. Because I did always think like this. I always had an uncanny sense that something was off, that there was something that we didn't know and will never know in this world. We'll only know when we pass on to the next. I started diving deep into these thoughts and just really, you know, just pulling from every direction to figure out, you know, the deeper meaning of that thought. Why was I thinking that? So, and I didn't start doing that until I did mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms, for the first time when I was 18 years old. And it opened something in me that, because the very first time I did mushrooms, I went out to this place in Alaska, in between Wasilla and Anchorage, called Jim's Creek. If you are from Alaska or you ever partied in Alaska, you know Jim's Creek. It is a beautiful, it's a beautiful place. And it's where you can feel so in tune with the land, and you can feel so small because of the vastness of the scale of the place. It makes you feel so tiny. The mountains are so enormous. Just everything is just bigger, you know, up there. It just makes you, it just puts your tiny existence into perspective so easy and so quick. That when you get on a psychedelic in these remote wilderness areas, it opens something magical in you. Because, you know, I could have done mushrooms, and I did do mushrooms in like an enclosed space in a house. And it was completely different than the experience I had when I was out in the woods at Jim's Creek, near the water, running water. It was called the Knik River. And there was a big giant mountain ridge in front of us and behind us. Well, not so much behind us, but like really far back behind us, you know. We were pretty much surrounded by the Chugiak mountain range. We were out in the middle of the woods. Like, you had to drive on a little tiny like four-wheel track to get out to this place. And we all go out there, and it was like my very, very first time doing mushrooms. And I did, like, I guess you could put it like this, like two rows full, it was called an eighth up there. I don't know. But I did quite a bit for my size and, you know, like my body fat content at the time, you know. And so I took those, and I went out with a large group of people that I didn't really know. And I ended up, the shrooms kicked in. I ended up in the back of a truck, in the bed of a truck, on a pile of blankets that we had brought. And I had like I had made like myself like a burrow. Cause like I was getting nervous cause all these people were around, and they were like drunk and like rowdy, and I wasn't really into all that vibe. You know, I was just really trying to like go within and like figure out what the hell I was like seeing when I closed my eyes. Cause that was way more interesting than anything else I could look at outside. Cause it was already dark at this point. And so I'm in the bed of this truck, and I am seeing this. It was like the wheels of a clock, okay? Like the cogs of a clock turning, you know, intertwining. There was like it was just like my whole field of vision was like cogs on a clock, like spinning, you know, each intertwining with each other. And all of a sudden, out of this, you know, the side of my view, here comes a snake. And it's like perfectly going on this line of these, I want to make sure this doesn't get burnt up. Woo! That was intense. But anyway, I wanted it looked like the snake was, it was like sectioned into different colors of the rainbow. Not like concise like how we see it. It was just different colors. And it was slithering through the cogs of this clock. And it kept going into my field and out and coming back through. It looked like it was like going in a circle almost around my head. And so that was like a really trippy thing that I experienced. And then, you know, like I tripped all through the night and I had many different experiences that I can't really explain. It was just all so strange. And the things I was seeing when I was closing my eyes and the thoughts I was having. And I wake up out of this trip and I'm naked as hell and I'm in the woods. I'm alone with my boyfriend, and it was like all these people were gone and it was just me and him in this truck naked alone. Like we didn't do anything. We just got naked because we were hot in this truck. It was weird. It was a weird night. And, but coming out of that, that was the first time that I really like went into my, like, it seemed like I was going into like some kind of different realm or something. It was so weird. Like I had done other things before that, but nothing that made me really experience the world like that. And that whole summer I tripped on mushrooms and ecstasy and like all these things that I'd never experienced before that made my senses heighten and like my inner world more elaborate. It was insane. And ever since then, I started to really dive deep into just everything to do with like life and consciousness and like who we are as people and what we're doing here. And, you know, I just couldn't ever get to the bottom of it. It just kind of goes in circles. And it goes in circles of people asking the same questions, never asking anything different. Never, because I think the best thing to do with videos like this, and the reason why I do them, these little like stream of consciousness videos, is because it sparks things in people. When you start to talk about things that other people feel but can't explain, it sparks something in them for them to, you know, it just like creates a fire in their mind of like, okay, wait, she just explained something. And I'm not like crediting myself here. I'm like saying this has happened to me with other people is why I know these things help. When I was coming off of drugs, like hard drugs in 2014, it was sometime in 2014. I can't really remember. But 2014, I was coming off of hard drugs and I started listening to this guy and his name was Alan Watts. Now, he was putting things into words that I had felt my entire life. And it made me, it just synced. Everything synced in me. Like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I had all these pieces of who I was floating around in my head, or my idea of who I was, you know, my projection of who I think I am. I had all these pieces floating around, and all I needed was those few lectures of feelings and emotions that I couldn't describe so eloquently and so beautifully that it made all of those floating pieces of mine just kind of combined. And it made me feel magical. It made me believe in magic again. It made me really dive deep into my spirituality for the very, very first time. I really got deep into my spiritual like practice and like the things I was doing on a day-to-day basis and the thoughts I was holding in my head. It affected me more than anything else ahead in my entire life. And I've been through some hard treatments. I don't know if you could really call them that because it didn't work. on me. I've been through, you know, intensive inpatient treatment, long-term, hospitalization after hospitalization, just so many different things that people were trying to help me. They were trying to help me fit these pieces together that were so chaotic and were causing so much chaos within myself that I was letting it seep out of me. And once I got all of that in check and I started to question my belief system and my opinions of everything, I just started to question it. Because I realized all of this shit was given to me. All of these opinions I heard through someone else, and I thought it sounded okay. It sounded right. And we all experience this. You know, sometimes, you know, as we age, we drop, we you know, pick off things that no longer vibe with us and no longer, like, adhere to who we are. And we just throw them to the side, and, it, you know, it's just like a natural progression of life. But what I was doing is I was holding on to all of it until I could figure out what was correct and what wasn't. I don't know, my over analytic mind was doing that. And I finally found inner peace most days. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not sitting here saying I'm some Zen monk. Like, of course, some days I get, like, upset still, but that's just part of being human. Like, you have to let the body feel what it feels, because the emotions of others and the intention of others will hit you before the actual act takes place. You'll feel off. You'll feel just something in your gut is telling you that maybe you shouldn't go somewhere. Maybe you shouldn't be friends with somebody. Maybe you shouldn't this or that. It's just there's so many different other things that can happen. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying my videos. My shit's about to die, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.